happy readers, my name is Liz and today I'm going to talk to you about all the books I read this fall. I know, you're thinking, Liz, there are only 3 books here. In July-ish area, you read 13 books in a month. What happened? Why is your life so ridiculous? Well, dear audience member, I'm asking myself the same thing. I don't know. I have like 4 jobs. Reading kind of takes a back burner a little bit, but I do enjoy it. I'm slowly reading Being Audrey Hepburn and loving it to death. And I just want to talk about these books. I do. Let's talk about them. The first in the stack is, oh my gosh, like, just goodness gracious, this one. Oh, I just have a lot of feelings about this one, but I felt like this, it's just a good story, and a good everything, and it's just right up my alley, and you probably didn't know that there was such a thing as a Liz book, but this is a Liz book for sure. It's one of those books that I'm just like, this one knows what I needed in my life, and it is Trouble is a Friend of Mine by Stephanie Tromly, and it is about this girl who, she and her mother decided to move to upstate New York-ish area to get away from her dad and mom have been recently divorced, and so it's coming from that end of things, and she's in high school, and she's new to this school, and she's just trying to get by to make her way to a newer, fancier school, but she meets some interesting characters along the way, including, but not limited to, Digby. Oh, Digby's a great character. Guys, he's a great character. There are a lot of great characters in this. It's kind of like Veronica Mars, where you have, like, the main few people that they focus on, and then you've got some good side characters that just, like, amazing. Cherry on top of the milkshake, if you will. I don't eat the cherry, but it looks nice. It looks nice, right? But in this, it's just a fantastic story. It's a little bit of a mystery, so if you like a little bit of mystery, a little bit of quirkiness, a little bit of tomfoolery, I don't know if we get enough of that in YA. Just always tomfoolery, but never hurts to have even more quirky, crazy characters. And because we are failing for time because I've only read 3 books in the past few months, Stephanie Tromly was born in Manila, grew up in Hong Kong, graduated from University of Pennsylvania, worked as a screenwriter in Los Angeles, now lives in Winnipeg with her husband and young son, and this is her first novel. I thought that was really interesting that she's got a quite traveled past and worldly, and has been different places, and is, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and the book is so good. The next book that I read and finished was First and Then by Emma Mills, and again, great stuff. Great stuff. I love contemporary. If it's not been made aware to you, it's my favorite. It's about this girl named Dev, and I felt like I very much understood where she was in her life and where she was coming from in high school, and not knowing where she was going and what she was doing and things. Not being totally clueless, but just the matter of, where am I going to go to college? What am I going to do with my life? I don't know. It's just confusing and difficult. But there are some differences, one being that she is sort of kind of crushing on her best friend, that they've been best friends since like elementary school or something, and so basically she's just kind of like, I like this guy, but and then another guy comes along and you're like, is anything gonna happen with that? And there's a lot of feelings there, and there's football involved, and so I was like, I don't know anything about football, but you don't need to know anything about football, because it's good. It's good in your heart. I've heard this being compared to like Friday Night Lights meets Pride and Prejudice, which I would say definitely with the Pride and Prejudice. I like that little bit of tension there, but I've never watched Friday Night Lights, so okay. And a little bit about the author. If you don't know who Emma Mills is, she is also Elmify on YouTube, and I did a interview with her and a bunch of other Fierce Reads authors earlier this fall, so you can check that out. I'll leave it in the description below. And last but not least, we have the final in the trilogy of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It is Library of Souls, and can I tell you, I have 3 copies of this book. Don't know why. I do know, but the matter of fact is, this is seriously the best ending of a trilogy that I've read in a while. I feel like it's been a couple of years since I read the final book in a series where I was like, that is everything that I needed from the ending. There are some parts where you're just like, okay, we're gonna go camping through the woods kind of thing. Not the same thing. I'm just saying it's metaphorical to that part of, you know, Harry Potter Part 7, because we all like to have things that are similar to that long craziness. But I feel like the author kept it interesting, and my cat's me. Why? Why? You just had to high-five it with your head. He does a great job at keeping all this stuff interesting, so even when they're on the boat going through different places and going to the island and all of this other stuff, I feel like it was still interesting, and there were still some characters that are brought up, some new ones, and some just crazy stuff that happens without it being too, like, mind-boggling or like overwhelming. It was just the right amount of stuff. I did put like little sticky stuff where I was like, this is definitely like important to this story. What else can be said about this book without being too spoilery? There are some feelings to be had. I did not cry, surprisingly. I don't think I cried, but there were some parts where you're like, oh man, what is Jacob gonna do after all that? After everything, can he go back to the quote-unquote real world or like modern times for him? What do you do? Where do you go? And so it kind of sort of touches based on that. Doesn't get too far into it, but I feel like there's some interesting fun at times, fun moments. I feel like that's something that this book does well, and I like when books do this, where it's like you've got some darker parts and then you have some parts where you're just like, this character is being super funny, or this character is doing this or saying this, and you're just laughing hysterically. And so I thought that was really good. And so some things about the author. He's really tall. He went to college with John Green. He also went to college with that one guy from How I Met Your Mother, I think. But he writes really good books and stuff. You probably know enough about him anyways. I feel like I should also say that I picked up quite a bit of books, but just haven't finished them yet. I've picked up like Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and I think I mentioned this before, I'm reading Being Audrey Hepburn, and I've picked up several other ones. There's some that I've like put down, like DNF, like not finishing that ever, but there's some stuff that I'm like, I need to get back to that as soon as possible. So life needs to just kind of chill out so I can actually read a book / finish a book, so that'd be nice. So I hope you guys are having a good time. If you want to keep track of like readathons and kind of what I'm reading and all that kind of stuff, I try to like retweet people and also post what I'm reading and stuff like that on Instagram, Twitter, whatnot, mostly Twitter because that's just the easiest thing to do. So if you want to connect with me there and see what I'm up to, go check it out. I'll put the links to all my social media stuff in the description below. So I hope you guys have a great day and keep reading.